Good evening, my local drones. It is I, BioGundam, and I am back again for another video. So today, me and my buddy Kaiser Shounen. Today, we're going to be talking about the anime Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 to continue our Yu-Gi-Oh! Discussions because, I wanted to, we had fun in the last video, and also I wanted to take a break from Boku no Hero for a bit. So Kaiser, how have you been doing?
Pretty good. And for the audience out there, I know that what makes our version of this, because everybody's kind of sort of doing Yu-Gi-Oh retrospectives in these days, but we're the only guys going in reverse order. Okay, that's how you know that we're giving you the quality content you deserve.
Yeah, we're going in
Speaking
reverse
of,
order, and then eventually we'll do like sevens and whatever the fuck else comes out. But speaking of Yu-Gi-Oh, do
speaking
you?
of quality. Oh,
Yes.
sorry. I just want to say, for speaking of quality content, I've been just making my own waves, doing my own channel stuff, which you can check out at Kaiser Shounen at any time. I actually got a new video pretty much started up as of this recording. The video should probably be out by the time this video comes out. So I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, I'll definitely try and catch it. I'll definitely try and catch it. So, yeah. Speaking of Yu-Gi-Oh, so Kaiser, do you ever feel like smiling?
I mean, here's the thing, man. There are things that, like, okay, I guess my mindset. Okay, I guess my mindset when going into Arc 5 again, because this is the second time that I watched it, right? And I expected like the first half to be good and the second half to be bad. What I found was that the first half was good, the second half was also good, except for the last 15%, and that had everything to do with, well, you know who, but we'll get to him later.
Yeah, we're
But
gonna
up
save
until
him for. We'll save him in a bit because I have a few things to say. But yeah,
yeah,
Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V is one of those. It's I don't think I've. There's very few shows I've ever seen that literally like crap its potential at the end. It's just like, aside from a few rough patches, this show was fairly good, and then for the last home stretch, it just crashes and burns. Like, it's like, honestly, I don't want to pull like a glass reflection, say like the ending is paramount, right? But like the ending episodes, my god, for all the build up, for all this is the payoff. What the fuck?
yeah, yeah. It's so whack, and it's like, again, a lot of things. Even from what I've rewatched, a lot of the things that I saw for like most of the show, a lot of it has many great qualities, like really good quintessential Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. I like a lot of the characters, even maybe a few of the side ones. Most of the plot points that happen are pretty sensible and much more tightly written than most other ones that
Yeah,
I've seen.
considering like the premise itself, like this doesn't get too overly convoluted, And your main character, he's kind of memorable. I mean, he's not exactly my cup of tea, but because when it comes to these type of like happy-go-lucky protagonists, I do kind of prefer like Jaden, but I think Yuya Yasaki is not
I
a
think
half bad Yu-Gi-Oh
even
protag.
Yeah, Yuya, I actually liked him quite a bit. In fact, he kind of, up until the part we're not talking about yet. Up until that point, at least it feels a lot to me like Yuya's development is sort of, in a way, what Jaden's should have been written as overall. Like, they have a very similar beat to it, where they're sort of happy-go-lucky protagonists that have a joyful outlook on dueling and playing the game and getting better at it. But these are, and ostensibly, these are regular kids, right? Like any person that you would find who enjoys playing Yu-Gi-Oh, but they're put into this situation where they have to fight against fucking demons, and people want to kill them and all this other shit. They're dueling for their lives and being confronted with how to deal with that shit. The issue I had with Jaden, at least remembering it, because it's been a while since I've even seen GX, is that things weren't as tightly written. The moments where he was happy-go-lucky, I felt, were a bit too long without adding much to him. And then the parts where we get to the end where he's a bit more emo, they kind of drag it out more than they needed to, in my opinion. Whereas with Yuya, we don't really have that problem. Most of the time, in
Yeah,
fact,
like most of the time, like even like most of the time when it comes to Yuya, when he is going for like hard moments, he pushes through smiling and positivity. Unlike say Jaden, which is another whole can of worms, right? Who kind of like goes emo, as you say. Yuya tries to fight it through positivity and all that type of shit. So he's definitely like, he handles the shit differently, right? And I think that does kind of make him interesting.
I mean, it's not even that they handle it all that much differently. It's just that the show takes the opportunity to have him develop from it and focus on that more.
Yeah.
And even having other side characters contribute a lot more to his personal growth. Like, hey, Yuya actually has a relationship with his parents, which is something you don't see every day in Yu-Gi-Oh!
No, no, not at all. Because in Yu-Gi-Oh, he's got his
No.
grandpa. In GX, we don't even fucking know about his parents. You say, well, we know a little bit about his father, but nothing about his mother. Yeah, dead.
And well, in Zexal, Yuma's parents are in some kind of afterlife alien place thingy.
No,
So
I
there's
think
that.
in Yuma's case, his mother's alive, but his dad's like AWOL.
No, both his mom and dad were missing. He has his sister and his grandmother though; they're still around.
Oh, that's I might have confused his sister for his mother. It's been ages since I've seen the show.
No, but it's okay. But like, yeah, it's not even that they. But yeah, they utilize those elements in fleshing Yuya out more. There's just a lot more tools that he has, and he. It's not even just that he doesn't get emo. He does. It's just that it's a lot more oriented around him learning from those experiences and how he can grow as a duelist and as somebody who is going on this journey and things like that. I think they do that a lot better, and nothing is better, and nothing like showcases this more in my mind than when he dueled Jack Atlas.
Oh yes, like we should probably get to the story in a second, but like Jack Atlas is great. Like I don't think there's even like Jack Atlas in the show is great. Like I don't think there's a bad scene with him in it.
Yeah, no way. There's nothing I could really say that's bad about him. He is just always awesome. He is one of the best parts of the entire show.
Okay, but let's get to the
it's a great
story
metaphor.
before we talk about you know who, and then we'll go more into detail with Yu and some of the other characters. So,
Sure.
Arc 5 kind of starts out fairly normal, at the beginning, right? There's episodic duels, the main character wants to join, I think it's the Friendship Cup, or, no, sorry, that's in the Synchro
No.
arc, but he's joining in this, tournament, right? However,
Yes.
in the background, there's some stuff going down,
Yeah.
this, he duels this, one of his friends encounters this person who looks almost very similar to him, and then there's other stuff going on in the background.
Like people getting turned into cards and all this other shit.
Yeah, and you're just kind of and then there's these weird hints or foreshadowing that there's our main character is a bit more than what he seems, right? The one episode, right, is he's versing that fortune teller, right, and then she tries to see his fortune, and the crystal orb cracks in half.
Yeah, which is I'm surprised they kept her around for the beginning arc as long as they did, but that's kind of a running track record with early Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, I suppose. So I guess I should have expected that.
Yeah,
But there's a lot more going on than what they seem to be.
Yeah, and when I was first watching the show, I'm just okay, this is fine. And then I see that stuff, I'm oh, okay, what's going on here, right? And then we kind of get to the tournament arc where things kick off. You wanna kick it from here, right? Because I'm a little tired, so you can take it from here.
So around this time, this is also when Yuya creates pendulum summoning. This wasn't even a thing in his world before he made it up. Just pulled that bullshit out of his ass.
Yeah, like all Yu-Gi-Oh protagonists, his main skill is how he can cheat in the game. And in a single duel, he literally just invented a new archetype.
It's great. It's great. It's fantastic. But yeah, and we go through how he gets into the tournament, he and his friends, and a lot of the rivals he's met throughout the story. And we learn to find out that there are other alternate dimensions, other ones based on other summoning methods, and they're all in a freaking interdimensional war with each other.
Yeah, like, welcome to the interdimensional psychic war, my friend. Like, get ready to play some card games in the trenches.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is the kind of shit you can only find in things like Yu-Gi-Oh!
I wouldn't have it any other fucking way. Like, interdimensional war. We're gonna fight with giant robots. No, a children's card game. Akiba, let's duel.
Yeah. And there were people who are already infiltrating, I guess they're called the standard world. There are already people from other dimensions sort of like infiltrating the world, trying to vie for some sort of control. And the main villains of the series is from the fusion dimension, who are the ones who basically caused the war to happen, seems like.
Yeah, it seems like. Yeah, and you know what I think is really interesting about is that, like, some of these fusion dimension infiltrators, shit like this, like, some of them you actually don't find out till later. Like, we'll go further into it, but, like, one of them was, like, I was like, oh, I didn't see that one fucking coming. I mean, there was, like, a few hints, but for the most part, I was just like, oh, that was a surprise.
I mean, if it is who I think you're talking about,
I'm talking about Dennis.
Yeah, if you're talking about Dennis, like, that was pretty blatant after he, rubbed shoulders with Yuri.
Yeah, good point. So, I know, but I was like, before that point.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of fair. But even then, yeah, I agree that there was a lot more attention to throwing in these twists and how they affect the characters as well. I think this show handles twists quite well compared to most other Yu-Gi-Ohs, especially in the early arc.
Yeah, and so basically during this tournament arc, we find about this dimension war. We also find out that Yuya has some doppelgangers along with his childhood friend Yuzu. They have some doppelgangers, and we actually get to meet, I think it's during this arc, we get to meet two of them. Actually, we meet all of them, actually, but I think the first one we meet is Yuto, then Yugioh, and then eventually, like, Yuri at some point. But,
yeah, in Yuzu's case, we see her and only Serena. We don't get the other two.
For plot reasons, because they've already been kidnapped and captured by the academia forces.
Yeah.
And if you want to know why they're specifically capturing these girls in particular, well, you're gonna find out very shortly. But anyway, during the tournament arc, there's some character development. I know we're skipping over some stuff, but like I've got stuff to do later on after this, and like there's so many characters. I kind of want to focus on the core stuff. However, it's during this arc, during halfway through this tournament arc, that two of the dimensional doppelgangers, right, fight one another, right, and eventually, Yuya gets involved, and it's Yuto, right, the XZ one. As Yuto, the XZ one, gets defeated, and he starts like disappearing. It's almost like he gets absorbed by Yuya, and then that's when shit starts getting crazy from there.
Because then after that point, during the tournament, the fusion dimension basically goes on an all-out attack against almost all of the contestants of the tournament, and they're carding people. We have all these big duels. One of the characters that we met betrays the main characters. It's all kinds of fucked up.
Yeah, and that's just a warm up, because during one of these duels, right, our main character Yuya Saki, his eyes start like glowing crimson red, and he has like this dark aura start showing up. But nothing to see here.
He goes, nothing to see there. It's
he also invents like a new card as well. Dark Eye. I think it's Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon as well, with using Yuto's XZ. Oh, by the way, we should mention that all these dimensional copies have a dragon. You've got Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon for Yuya, Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon for Yuto, Clearwing Synchro Dragon for Yugioh, and Starve Venom Fusion Dragon for Yuri. And just keep in mind for those dragons, by the way, they're gonna be very important coming up later on. But like, he gets XCY Dragon, he's summoning it, and then every now and then, right, Yuya has this weird mode where his eyes turn like crimson red. He's got like this dark aura, and it's almost like he speaks with no emotion, or like this intense rage. You're just like, oh, that's kind of odd, but none of the characters seem to react to it, even though fucking Akiba Reiji has like security cameras everywhere and can clearly see this going on, but Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, granted, Reiji, who I guess is the sort of Kaiba analog in the show, who we'll get to, like, he sees this and he is concerned about it, but the rest of the audience kind of isn't for the most part. Some of them were weirded out, obviously, but it's strange that more of them weren't. But you know,
Yeah, it's a bit of a like like at some parts, right, you can visibly see like just mass amounts of like this dark aura emanating from him. Like this is not normal, but yeah, we'll get to that. Eventually, there's some like pretty fucking cool duels. However, during the tournament, Yuzu is almost captured by Yuya's fusion doppelganger. However, she is saved by yugioh just in time, and she basically disappears, and this is where Yuya gets involved in the Lancers, and they're like, okay, where'd she go? We eventually find out she ends up in the Synchro Dimension, and they eventually, apparently they'll plan on going there anyway, because we find out that the Synchro Dimension hasn't been invaded yet, so they're hoping to basically intercept them before they invade the Synchro Dimension.
Yes, they basically have to invade it to go there first in hopes of allying with the people from the Synchro Dimension so that they can have a chance in this war, because the XC's dimension has already gotten shreked, right? They already gotten destroyed.
They got fucked hard, like...
Kind of weird, because it tends to be the reverse, where the XC's monsters tend to be more powerful, but fuck it, whatever.
Yes, they're subverting the established Yu-Gi-Oh lore, but
they're subverting the meta.
Yeah, they're subverting the meta. So, Yuzu and Yugioh, they're doing stuff in the Fusion Dimension, and during the Fusion Dimension arc, I'm gonna say, I think the Fusion Dimension arc is like a very mixed bag.
Yeah, some things kind of dragged, and there were a few moments that were just not very well written. The Xyz arc was kind of fine. I feel like it kind of bleeds into the Fusion Dimension arc a little more.
But just to go into more details, they have another tournament arc, right? To basically get the assistance of the Synchro Dimension. They participate in the Friendship Cup. Some cool duels happen. Jack Atlas is based as always. Crow shows up. I don't think there was like a bad episode of Crow in it either.
Yeah, I don't think so either. He and Jack were consistently pretty good.
Yeah, like always.
Theirs have been great.
Yeah, as always. Eventually, the Fusion Dimension invades, and during one of these skirmishes, Yuya, Yuri, and Yugioh end up in the same place, and all of them have the dragons out. Yuya has two of them out, Yuri has his out, Yugioh has his out, and then something very interesting happens.
Yeah, it does.
Our main character, all those characters' eyes start glowing, some weird, creepy music starts playing, and there's this weird, like, chanting going in the background, and they're chanting, we've been waiting for this time, we shall merge to become one again. And when I was, like, watching this for the first time, I'm just like, this is almost like this, we're gonna go into this later, but honestly, that scene is, like, bone-chilling. It's just like, yeah, we're about to summon Cthulhu, and like as you look up, right, the sky starts like merging into like rainbows. What the fuck is going on here? Like it's like fucking Cthulhu is about to get summoned in this dimension. And in retrospect, it's probably a good thing what was about to happen didn't happen, because like the Synchro Dimension would have got fucked, like just outright.
They would have. What interrupted them again?
I think it was Serena and Yuzu. They showed up, right, and their bracelets activated.
Of course. Oh yeah, the running motif in the show is that like whenever the Yuzu doppelgangers the used doppelgangers.
We might also go into it. We might also go into it now, right?
Oh, okay.
We might also go into that aspect now. Well, not the spoiler shit, but like a little bit of the motifs, right? So like all of Yuya's counterparts have a dragon. Yuzu's all have this weird like bracelets on them.
Yeah, and whenever one of them are around, when two other Yuya doppelgangers are around, that one of them. The Yuzu doppelganger's bracelet glows, and they teleport away either one of them or both of the Yuya doppelgangers so that they keep them from encountering each other.
Yeah, and so, like, after the episode, right, where it's almost like they summon Cthulhu, you start thinking to yourself, like, okay, there's more going on here. There's 4 girls with a dragon. They're obviously dimensional doppelgangers. There are 4 boys with dragons. And whenever they're all in the same room together, it's like weird, creepy shit happens. And, you know, it's almost like they're seeking one another out, almost.
Yeah, trying to slide into each other's DMs and things. Typical first world problems.
Yeah, typical first world problems, you know. But anyway, during the Synchro arc as well, during the Fusion invasion, we have a profligate uprising. The proletariat overthrow the bourgeoisie. And this cyborg guy called Sergei gets beaten to death live on screen.
Oh my god, yeah. That was brutal.
Yeah, like, here's the thing. They didn't, they did turn away from it, right? But, like, just at the end, they're like, oh, go Gimli. They did show, like, a little bit of him being beaten, but I'm just like, oh, okay, they're going there.
Yep. Yeah, that arc went really hard.
Yeah.
I was surprised they kept up the quality that much. Like, it actively just gotten way better in that arc.
Yeah, like, the Synchro arc, like, it starts alright. It's kind of meandering in the middle, right? Like, it's a little bit like Season 2 Reigns. Like, it just kind of, like, stalls for a bit. And then the end is just like, okay, this is good. You know, like, I think the villain's name is, like, Robert or something like that. Like, I think he's fine.
Yeah, Roger.
Oh, Roger.
Yeah,
okay, I thought his name was Robert. Never mind. My bad. It's been a while. I thought he was like a pretty decent villain.
Yeah, I'd say he's decent for what he is.
Yeah. Yeah, this kind of like authoritarian, I'm gonna control everything character.
Basic.
Yeah. We then move to the...
And there are some actual politics and shifting of loyalties in this one, much like in 5Ds, which, makes sense.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We then get to, the XYZ kind of fusion dimension arc. I just want to say, Light of Hope is a fucking banger song, like...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But, the XYZ dimension is fucking great. Arc is great. We see this, destroyed, ruined city, and if you liked Heartland from Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, it's here in the show, except it's this dilapidated, destroyed ruin, and people are, scrounging for survival as, elite hunter-killer teams are hunting down what's left of the civilians of this once, populous city.
Yeah, even children. They still hunt down children.
Hunt down children. And you have, these, hardened resistance fighters. They're all decked up in black leather, and they wear tattoos and motorbikes, and they're ready to keep the good fight for as long as humanly possible.
Yeah, it is insane how far they go with that one.
Yeah, Kaito and Astro Phoenix make an appearance.
Oh yeah, they do. And just seeing Yuya trying to adjust the fact that, oh shit, things are this bad in the Xyz world.
Yeah, in the Xyz world, there is no mercy. It's a battle for survival, right? It's a constant struggle to gain the upper hand.
Yep. And even some of the people in the Xyz dimension, they attempt to do some bad things, just to try to, just for the sake of their own survival. And Yuya has a hard time really adjusting to that.
Yeah, because I don't think Yuya has...
The message here today is that card games, ladies and gentlemen, are serious business. The minute we stepped off of motorcycles, we went back to the ground. It's gotten worse.
Listen, that duels on motorcycle, honor duels with honor and shit like this. No, this is gritty card games in the trenches. Prepare for the psychic war, the interdimensional psychic war.
Oh my god.
I'm just imagining, fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters in World War One. Instead of Kaiba's just you're a first-rate German with a third-rate gun. What are you...
Screw the rules. I'm gonna bomb you. I'm gonna bomb Nagasaki.
I really do enjoy the XZ arc. It's pretty cool. We get some more fusion shit. We get some more backstory on... Yeah, because the XYZ counterpart, Yuto, he's not super... he's a bit active in the first bit in the show, but he kind of goes quiet for a little bit. But, as the show goes on, I think this is, later on to the Synchro arc, he sort of almost becomes, a Yami Yugi type character, right? He's kind of, just there as, in a spirit form, and he bounces off Yuya, which I actually quite enjoy.
Essentially.
Yeah, and it's during like the XZ
I like that a
XYZ
lot.
arc is that where he's like most active.
Yeah, definitely. It makes sense because he's went back to his home world and seeing everything from his perspective. It helped flesh things out a lot more. Especially when we run to Alistair Phoenix, who is basically like a lieutenant guard dog for academia. He's sending these people to the card game gulags, and he isn't happy about that.
Yeah, like the original one who was a fucking toady for a cult. Yeah, Alistair Phoenix, even in another dimension, he still just can't catch a break.
He really can't. Although he does have a much better deck, though.
Oh, fuck yes. And I would say that, this version is, like, less of a dick than, like, the original one was at first.
Yeah, substantially less. Because his whole thing is, again, like, I'm trying to think of a character. Not like Ramba Rao, because Ramba Rao doesn't betray Zeon. I think he's more along the lines of, what's his name? Trying to think of a name of an anime, but like basically he is not okay with what is going on and what he's forced to do.
Yeah,
in regards to, like,
he's kind of very much like he's very conflicted, but he's just like, I gotta do this anyway.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. We didn't get to the. Do you want to talk any more about the XYZ dimension? There's a lot of stuff going on. I know we're like paraphrasing a lot of it, but we kind of have to because we need to get.
You're paraphrasing right now.
Yeah.
But we're paraphrasing right now. I don't mind going to Fusion Dimension. Then we finally get to we're Avatar Book 3 type B, and we're in the Fusion Dimension now. And
like shit is wild.
Things are wild. First off, what's her name?
I linked the wiki, so we have the characters' names.
Yeah, Alexis from GX is in here, and I think
she's
like
great as always.
She's better. She's definitely better. Definitely a lot more active in the plot than in previously, which definitely
and
helps.
unlike in season 4 where she's like simping for Jaden, who is ignoring her while he broods, she's actually doing a lot more.
Yeah, and we actually get to fight the main bad guys of the series. Okay, we get to fight Yuri. We get to learn more about the other two girls.
We get to learn about the professor, who is actually. Oh yeah, we should reveal that the professor is Akaba Reiji's like father. So he's fighting against his dad in this interdimensional psychic war.
And certain other reveals happen that we'll get to.
Yeah, we do find out why Akaba Reiji is doing this, and it's very interesting to say the least.
Yes, it is quite the trip.
Oh yeah, and Yugioh and Yuri have their massive duel, which was pretty good. But this is like when we get the reveal.
Oh man, the reveal. But yeah, that's the. I don't know. Do you want to say it here, or do you want to like say it after we get into the characters?
Let's just paraphrase shit, right? Like they find we'll save the reveal for at the end. All right, at the end we'll go a bit more. We'll do it during the character section because we'll do it just before the character section because we're gonna they're gonna need context, right? They fight Akiba Reiji and all that shit, main bad villain shit. However, we find out that as the show kind of foreshadows, Yuya is not normal. His dimensional counterparts aren't normal. Yuzu is not normal. Her dimensional counterparts aren't normal. And we kind of get, you kind of think to yourself, like, why is Akaba Reiji doing this? Why are the dimension splits? Why are there 4 boys with 4 dragons and 4 girls with 4 necklaces? Kaiser, do you want to take it away?
So, essentially, long ago, when all the worlds were one. No, this isn't Kingdom Hearts.
You wish.
It's almost weird and dumb. Yeah, I definitely wish. All the dimensions were one, and basically Yuzu and Yuri and their counterparts are all incarnates of, Yuya, sorry, and are all freaking reincarnation, 2 people from this old world. Or you see Yuya is the incarnation of the bestest duelist ever named Zar, who is so good at dueling that he became fucking Cthulhu.
Yeah, this reminds me of like the Cold Steel fan fiction, nothing personal kid. He's just like the ultimate badass. I am Zark, the
he
best
got
duelist
so
ever.
good with-
Turned into a Cthulhu monster. Nothing personal, kid. Blows up your entire civilization.
Yeah, he like it's not even that like oh he has like a specific superpower or something. No, he just got good at dueling. Somehow he just gained superpower.
Yes, and then we have Rei Akaba. Yes, you heard me. Rei Akaba. We have the actual older sister of Reiji Akaba, who I guess kind of defeated Cold Steel the Duelist here. Nothing personal, kiddo. And
She sealed him away using cards that Professor Akaba made, since he is from the old world apparently. But as a result, all the dimensions and both of those people got split into 4.
Yeah.
Is why we have everything as we see in the series currently.
Yes, and we find out basically that these dimensional copies, if they defeat each other, like they're kind of drawn to one each other, right? And they beat each other in a duel, right? They basically just absorb each other, right? And up to the final stretch of the fusion arc, main character here, Yuya, he's merged with his XYZ counterpart. Eventually the fusion one merges with the synchro one, and eventually those two duel it out. Obviously being manipulated by Zark, who's kind of like, that dark aura and like the crimson eyes that start glowing up with main character Kun here. Yeah, that's a bit of Zark's influence, right? Cthulhu Monster wants to merge back into one again, get his full power again. Girls we have in the show, right? Their main job is to subconsciously kind of like, keep them apart, and I think in a way, like, make sure they have like a happy life.
Basically, here's the thing. I don't have an issue with the reveal in of itself, because we already, like we've been saying this entire time, this has been what Yuya even is, and what the doppelgangers are, and all this other stuff.
It's all brilliantly foreshadowed.
Yes, it was brilliantly foreshadowed.
There's a lot of parallels. There's a lot of like parallels between them all. There's like small hints, like that fortune teller girl like looking to his future, and like the crystal ball cracks in half. There's also like the scene, right, where Yuya goes into like evil mode for the first time, right, and we see like this destroyed city, the bracelets, the dragons, all the shit, why it's all brilliantly fucking foreshadowed.
The problem is the backstory itself and the pacing after.
Yeah, the backstory is like, what I dislike about the fucking backstory is we barely get fucking anything. We don't know much about Zark. Yes. We don't know much about Rei. We don't know if they had some like prior relationship, because honestly, shipping aside, right, like you do get the impression that there was definitely something ongoing between those two.
Yeah, and we never get to see how she feels about having to like eternally fight the person that she knew turns into this super dueling demon. Like just the fact that there is literally no explanation as to how he get this powerful. He just does. Really
like I know they mentioned that. I think the only power he actually had, right, is that he's similar to Genro, like he communicate with dual spirits and stuff like that. Yeah, how do you get from that to like I'm the super Cthulhu monster dragon? Like what the what
exactly?
But like what really kills me about this is that we get barely any context of who Zark is, who Rei is, what their relationship is, and it just kind of I mean at the end of the show, right, we get like a little bit of who maybe Zark was originally, right, but it's just like we get so little for so much build up. Like this payoff is absolutely like ugh.
Yeah, they threw in way too much at the very end. The build up towards the reveal is fine, but we don't really get all that much about Zark himself or Rei, and like sprinkled out throughout the arcs, because if they did, not only would it make things way more focused and tightly written, but just fundamentally it would have just made things a hell of a lot better. And in the final duel, because honestly, freaking slog, because at this point in the series, all the other characters' development gets stunted because we have to rush through to the end of the Zark stuff.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? Like I think Zark as a villain, like here's the thing, your main character is the bad guy. He doesn't know it yet, but he is.
Things build up. It has been some of the best this franchise has to offer. more because it puts Yuya in a very it puts Yuya in a very uncomfortable position that we actually get to see. It's like in stark contrast to his own goals and things. Granted, it's similar to what happened with Jaden. Think of the Supreme King shit if it actually had build up beforehand.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Yeah, and there's so much like potential here, and they just nuke that potential from fucking orbit with the last ending episodes. Like it's bad. And Zark
Really bad.
And Zark had a lot of potential to be like a really cool villain, except, you know, he had the potential to be a really good Yu-Gi-Oh villain, right? And what they do, wah, 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 crash, nuke and burn.
Yeah. Had this very drawn out, like, I don't necessarily even have the issue with the way that the final duel was constructed with, like, most of the major characters.
Okay, I think the final duel was fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know, it's the big fucking boss monster at the end. That's perfectly okay. It's just the characterization. Like, where's the character? Where's the depth? Where's the lore? You know, like, you know, you build up this big giant mystery and all this build up, and it kind of like almost becomes for nothing.
Yeah, seriously. And just everything following the final fight with Zark is also just really, it felt really tacked on. At that point, I'm just all like, okay, if you're not gonna conclude the shit we actually wanted to get concluded, you may as well just fucking end it now.
Yeah, and the ending of the duel was a little bit unsatisfying, right? So, you know, Rei shows up and like physically she shows up in spirit and like gets she channels herself for like another character. They beat the main bad guy. Everything's like back to normal essentially, except, you know, all the dimensional counterparts just live in fucking, you know, Yuya and fucking Yuzu. You know, I guess they're not allowed lives, I guess, anymore. Like,
yeah, I guess not.
No, and you know, the ending is like, so obviously we should probably talk about that, one of the characters named Shun, we'll get to him in a bit when we talk about the character section, right? But at the end, right, he's like smiling, and I remember I showed you that, I showed that picture, right? I said like, yeah, the face you make when your best friend and your sister are gone forever. Oh, Shun, my boy, they fucked you hard in the show. Oh, by the way, I do want to mention, there's this YouTuber called Kevin Jones Reviews who did a much improved and better fan fiction ending of the show, which we will link in the description below. So go watch that because it is 10 times really better than what we ended up getting.
Yeah, I brought this up to Bio because at the time I was keeping up with Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 when it was still airing, and I found this channel maybe around the time Vrain started, and I remember getting to this part, and I had my own issues, and he really, you know, kind of co-signed my thoughts on it, and then, you know, he actually went through the effort of making a rewrite of the ending, and it was good, and it's great that it didn't, because beforehand, like not too long ago, his channel got deleted for some reason. I don't know why, but it's back up now, and all his videos are up, thank God. So please, I implore everyone to go watch these videos, give him the views, give him the likes, give him the love, and
yeah, like it's a little like rough around the edges, but like I think the core idea is pretty good. Like it's fairly good, and I kind of wish, like, okay, I wish this was the ending because it's 10 times better than what we fucking got.
It's fucking Konami.
Yep, fucking Konami. The suit strike again. Anyway, so the story's kind of it's a ride. Like Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V is a ride. Now let's get the characters. Do you want to go into like Yuya and all the dimensional shit first, or should we go into like Zark and Rei first, and then go into like dimensional copies? Because
let's stick with Yuya and the dimensional. Let's stick with Yuya and the dimensional copies first. Because there's they represent a lot of the good that this show had.
Yes.
Like we had Yuya, who is the protagonist, who gets exposed to a lot of these things. We have Yuto, who is the first person we see who is exposed to the greater conflict that's going on. Yugioh is sort of unaware in his own way, getting further wrapped up into this whole thing, this whole conflict. And we have Yuri from the fusion dimension, who's obviously the evil one. But honestly, I loved how much of a shithead he kind of was. He was very entertaining. Definitely the sort of like Dio-esque Saturday morning cartoon kind of villain. Very enjoyable, very charismatic, and his duels are fucking fire. They are some of the best shit you could find in any of these shows at all, right?
Yep.
All of these characters individually are great in their own right. Yugioh is probably the one that feels the most underwritten, in my opinion. Well, aside from Yuri, I think they're both on the same wavelength in terms of how much characterization they have.
Yeah, I think due to like the massive cast, I think due to the massive cast they included, like this show is a really big cast, right? I really think like some characters definitely got shafted. Like I do wish the dimensional counterpart for Yuya and Yuzu. Like, I kind of wish we had a bit more stuff with the other dimensional counterparts. Like, Serena's great.
Oh, Yuzu.
Serena's great.
Yuzu and the other guy freaking shaft.
Yeah, they got shafted hard. Like, I kind of wish that, honestly, cut this cast in half, right, and focus more on the four of them. Because that's, like, a bit more interesting.
Yeah, but, like, the thing is that, like, what makes it worse is that this isn't like a Taya and Alexis situation where there wasn't really all that much potential and the show just has them around and not really doing anything.
Yeah, they're just moral support of the waifu. That's it.
Yeah, basically. No, we have like an Akiza and Blue Angel situation where the counterparts, especially Yuzu and Serena, would have been absolutely great, and they were great in their own right. But the show shafts them near the end and don't really give them all that great duels, except for when they literally get mind controlled. Spoilers, right? And we barely get to learn about what's the other one's names?
Let me go. I've got them up. We got Ren and Ruri.
Yeah, Ren and Ruri, and barely get to learn about them. Like, we know that, you know, Yuto and Yugioh care about those two in particular, and that's fine, but we barely get to learn about them themselves.
Yeah, I think the basic shit we learn is maybe like basic stuff, and that's through flashbacks, but we barely see them as characters. Like, they're more plot devices than actual characters.
Which is incredibly unfortunate. I really hate that.
Yeah, it's a real shame.
I could forgive that if they didn't make Yuzu the damsel of distress after the synchro dimension arc. I would have loved this because she is actually a competent duelist. So is Serena, and they're both interesting characters.
Yeah, they're all interesting characters. They're doing stuff. They're highly competent, you know. And then, you know, it starts like after the synchro arc. It's just like, you know, race for the waifu. You know, it gets so fucking boring.
Then with the Zark stuff, like, they barely get to comment on any of it because spoilers, they're all carded and they all sort of like merge into Reira, who is somebody else who we'll get to in a minute, and it feels so wasted. Like, it's not. I don't know if it's worse than the other ones, but it feels worse because there's so much potential with them.
Yeah, there's so much potential, but like I think the revelation with Zark is great because like I do believe it's hinted in the I think it's said like roughly around the end that like Zark originally, like, Yuya is like the most he's not the most pure version of Zark, but like he's what Zark used to be, right? And the other dimensional counterparts are like not sub-personalities, but like other aspects of Zark. So the only characterization we have for Zark, right, is like kind of like these aspects of him that's been like exacerbated. Like, that's kind of what they are.
We can kind of glean that in the same way for Rei with her counterparts and things like that. But we only mostly have characterization from Yuzu and Serena. We barely have them for the other two, except one of them is vaguely tsundere-ish.
Yes, like Baka.
You can probably get the impression that the one from the synchro dimension is probably like the most mature one, maybe, but we don't even get anything with her.
Or the XZ one, you kind of get the impression she's very like almost like motherly in a way, like I kind of got that vibe. But you know, I mean, at least with like Yuya and like at least with Zark, right, we can get a bit more characterization based on his doppelgangers. For like Rei, we get a little bit, but not really enough, right? And it's just kind of like, I don't know, like the idea, right, that your character, like your character, you're not really yourself. You're just a part of someone else. You know, like this nebulous whole. You know, like that's pretty fucking. That's some pretty like existential shit right there.
Pretty dark. Yeah, it is. One aspect of
or like the idea, right, that the relationships you have, and I think like Yuya's father kind of catches on to this, right, is that like Yuya, the reason why Yuya is the son, right, is so that he can be fucking trained to get more powerful.
Like all these things have been like manufactured, like destined, so that Zark could merge once again. And it paints a very dark picture, even towards like a lot of Yuya's development, right?
Yeah, and here's the thing: Pendulum Summon. Well, like you think that Yuya invented Pendulum Summon. something, he didn't. It was Zark.
Yeah.
Like,
it
you-
was
you-
something that sprang as a result of the worlds sort of like separating from each other.
Yeah, and like it's actually like it is very dark, right? Because you kind of feel like, you know, oh, this was destined to happen. Like the main character, he doesn't have a choice in this. Like he has to get in the Cthulhu monster. Like you don't have a choice in this, buddy.
Yeah, and again, it paints a lot of like a dark reflection, just in hindsight, in regards to a lot of Yuya's development as a character, right, throughout the series. Because in the beginning, while he wanted to become a pro duelist, he didn't take it all that much seriously until after he learned pendulum summoning and was close to losing at one point. And through, you know, interacting with his friends, okay, I'm going to make pendulum summoning better. I'm gonna do pendulum fusion, all this other shit. Okay, what next? In the synchro dimension, he learns that although he should not only to keep up his optimism in the face of, you know,
adversity,
in a freaking war and all this other shit and all this adversity, yeah, but also the fact that, like, even though the things that other people have taught him throughout his life and everything like that do hold meaning, and he should carry that. Overall, those things should be uniquely him. You know, those things should be uniquely himself, and he should carve his own sort of path, his own style, and he does. And then in the Xyz dimension, we see all that come in a full circle, where he can actively inspire and
he brings smiles,
make other
and
people better.
Yeah, and he brings like smiles.
He gets better and better as a duelist.
Yeah.
But now we know that all of that shit was preordained in some way.
And in a way, right? He's and in a way, he's basically Zark. Like he is becoming Zark himself, because, you know, you find out kind of at the end, right? You know, that Zark, like you, because, you know, I think we just said this before, like, but Yuya is like kind of like who Zark used to be, right? And the other three are kind of like other aspects of him, but like Yuya's like mainly what Zark was. You know, Zark, like Yuya, wanted to bring smiles to people, and it's kind of like, in a way, he's just playing out fate or destiny, like being who he was before. And you see this with like the other, well, except maybe like Yuri, but you know, he's a bit of an exception to the rule due to, like, you know, Dr. Akiba shenanigans, right? But you even see this a little bit with like
I think more than likely Yuri represents who Zark became.
Okay, yeah, but part of that is also due to like the Doctor's like fuckery as well, a little bit of that.
Yes.
But you know, you can even see that in Yuto or Yugioh, you know, right? Like they're striving towards some grand goals through dueling, and you can't. There's almost like this ticking bomb aspect going on, that, you know, we're just counting down for, like, you know, Lucifer Jr. like is summoned.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder near the end, you know, what part of them are themselves and what part is Zark. It really puts that question into focus in the characters.
Yeah, and I think like the show
really
kind of makes it ambiguous enough where it's kind of like, it's almost like it's a bit of column A, a bit of column B.
Yeah, which makes it good. I think one aspect of Yuya's character that I was kind of going forward, I suppose. It's less about his character himself, but more about his deck. Because if you thought freaking Yusaku's deck was incredibly convoluted, hell is going on with Yuya's. Like okay, like most other Yu-Gi-Oh protagonists, like aside from, I guess, Yugi originally, like the archetypes that they have like they have two other they have two main archetypes they deal with. Jaden has the elemental heroes and the Neospatians, all the Neoses. Yusei has his Synchrons and Stardust Dragon kit. Yuma has the Gagagas and Utopia. In fact, I feel like Yuma probably out of these seems the most unilateral out of all of them.
Yeah.
But with Yuya, we have not one, not two,
not three,
maybe not three, but four different archetypes going on in his deck.
It is a clusterfuck.
We have the Performa Pal.
We have magicians. We have all the upgrades for the Dimension Dragons. We have other crazy bullshit.
Yeah, we have the Dimension Dragons. And it's just like, what? I understand what they were trying to do, which is to emphasize the fact that, hey, you know, this Yu-Gi-Oh is going to incorporate all the summoning methods that we established thus far. And Yuya is supposed to represent, by representing Zark, he is able to utilize these different things, which is good, which is fine. But they could have done it in a way that was still fitting with at least one or two different archetypes.
Honestly, I think Yusaku did a better job at this.
You didn't have to make freaking more.
Yeah, like, here's the thing, Yusaku did a better job on this, because, like, in Vrain's, right, like, yeah, he has links, but he does have, like, you know, a fusion monster here, an XZ monster here, a synchro here, a ritual here.
Yeah, in Vrain's, Yusaku's deck is just all one archetype.
Yes.
It's just that, like, he can use different summoning method, but it's all in one art.
Yeah, it's all part of his kit. But like Yuya, he's got like multiple things going on at once in his deck. It's like this massive like car crash. Like, imagine playing this deck in a tournament in real life.
Cards that he has never gets used ever again, like Enlightenment Paladin or High Nirvana. Nirvana High Paladin, or some of the Performapal fusions, or things like that. Like,
yeah, like Gatling Ghoul's actually pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, but we barely see them. Do we even see him use Nirvana High Paladin after his fight with Jack?
I don't remember it.
Oh.
He's mostly using he's mostly using like Odd Eyes upgrades, or you know, the other Dimension Dragon upgrades. You know, like I'm just gonna say some of the upgrade forms for like the Dimension Dragons are pretty cool. Like, I think Dark Requiem XZ Dragon's fucking ghost is based. Crystal Wing's pretty good.
Oh, I love Odd Eyes. What do they call it? Odd Eyes Venom Dragon.
Oh,
I love the way that.
Oh yeah, the Odd Eyes versions of the Dimension Dragons are fucking great, but also so are their like base upgrade forms as well. Like, honestly, the Dimension Dragons themselves and all their forms are actually like pretty good. I'd say the one I like the least is maybe like Beast Eyes Dragon, or
okay, yeah, I'll agree with that. I'm so on Rune Eyes.
I don't mind Rune Eyes, right? But like Beast Eyes is like a cross between like a dragon and like some sort of furry. I don't really particularly like it.
You heard it here, folks. Bio Gundam doesn't appreciate furry dragon.
No, I don't. Yeah. Now, obviously, now when it comes to like, you know, Yuzu and her dimensional counterparts, I think Yuzu's a great character along with Serena. The other two, as we said before, get shafted. And, you know, through these characters, we do kind of get this, like we mentioned before, we do get this really odd, it especially becomes a bit more foreshadowed with the other two, as we see in flashbacks, right? But we do kind of get this hint that, there's something definitely going on between, like, Rei and Zark, because you can tell that, like, you know, Yuzu has a bit of a crush or has feelings for Yuya. That's pretty much the same all across the board, except for Serena and Yuri for Akiba Reiji reasons. So you get this, like, you do get this, like, impression that definitely before, you know, Zark became this Cthulhu monster, there's definitely something going on. And I don't think they go into... No, you go on. I've interrupted you. Go on.
No, I wanted to ask a quick question. What do you think about Reiji as a rival?
He's kind of boring, and not boring in a good way.
I don't know. Like, I think he's all right.
Okay, like, here's the thing. I think he's all right. Like, he's fairly competent.
I think he was good. I think he was good, like, in the first two arcs. But the last two is when he's the least around.
Yeah.
So we barely get much of him.
Like, okay, here's the thing. He's pretty fun as, like, a guy who shows up and, like, one-ups you through, like, you know, because he's, like, smart, very logical person, right? Like, I think that's great.
Yeah.
Personality-wise, it's okay. Yeah, he's the stoic type. That's perfectly fine. I just think he just kind of gets boring after a while. Is it just me, right? But, like, honestly, I saw a lot. Like, I kept on thinking he was, like, Yu Norakami from fucking Persona 4. Like, well, during this rewatch, whenever I saw him on screen, like, I was just thinking, reach out for the truth.
I mean, yeah, he's got that style. He's beating up bad guys in freaking knee highs. It's freaking fantastic. But, like, I think he's overall fun. He does have a lot of cool moments. He has the similar sort of, like, viciousness that you see in, like, other rivals, like, Kaiba especially.
Yeah, he's definitely...
And he has the intelligence, but he has way more of a blatant moral compass.
Yeah, and he's like, I think he's a bit more in control than, say, Kaiba is. Yeah. But Kaiba is very, like, he's not in control as he thinks. He's not as in control as he thinks, right? With, like, with Reiji here, like, he's almost, like, he's almost has almost everyone on the back foot, which is kind of entertaining.
Yeah. But they utilized him less in the last two arcs until the very end, which is where the issue is, because because in the first arc and in the synchro arc, I think he was pretty good. He might not have as many duels as I would like, but he's decent. And
Yeah, he's like he's plotting, politicking, and like you're just kind of like watching him like do stuff with Jack Atlas, like, and he's like, he's playing political mind games with the city officials. Like that's pretty fun.
Yeah, and it was fun. Him interacting with Jack was really cool.
Yeah, I like the conversation they have with that card, because like in the synchro arc, right, this bellhop that is like, kind of that Yuya kind of friends, he gives him a card that Jack gave him. He basically thought that like Jack gave him this card as like an insult, but we find out through this conversation through Reiji that apparently that card had a lot of sentimental value to Jack, and he gave that card to that kid so that kid could one day, be like Jack,
Yeah, because in this show, like Jack, I mean, it's the sort of similar thing in 5Ds, but Jack like literally grew up in the trenches and in his city, and he literally like grinded his way to the top and become the big epic Chad that we all know.
He's actually
so freaking awesome.
Yeah, I would say he's a lot more admirable in this show. I mean, in 5Ds, we'll get to that when we get to that, right? But like, he comes off as a bit more scummy, a little bit. I mean, he comes a lot better at the end, right? But I think in this iteration of Jack is a lot more admirable. He's this guy who like works hard through determination and will, through his burning soul, right? He goes to the top and he sees this young boy who probably reminds him a lot like himself when he's a little boy, and he gives him this card to him. Like basically, the kid didn't interpret it as this, right? But he basically gives him this card as like, here you go, kid. I started my journey with this, so can you. And I think that's like so cool, right? Because the kid, he thinks that Jack is like abandoned, he's abandoned that Jack is like now this elitist snob, but you find out that no, he isn't. He still is like a man of the people.
Yeah, basically, and he takes a lot of pride in where he came from, and like the way that the show portrays this, like his dialogue and his voice acting just oozes.
The Japanese voice actor is fucking. I mean, I don't mind the English voice actor for like Jack. I think he did a good enough job, right? But I think the Japanese voice actor really captures, the dogged determination of Jack Atlas. This guy who never gives up in the face of adversity. Doesn't matter how hard he's gonna get knocked back. He's gonna use his burning passion and soul to win. He is the king. He is the Chad. He is the Alpha and the Omega.
Definitely make him a lot more of a sort of semi-mentor figure.
Yes.
To a lot of characters in the show, which is really awesome.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting also where you don't see him. I mean, he like in the the previous version of him had like Crow and Yusei, and it's kind of interesting to see how he turned out without them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the circumstances are slightly different as well.
Yeah.
Given the fact that Yusei isn't around in this version of events, and even the situation in the city is wild. Well, maybe not wild, but very much different from how New Domino City is in 5Ds.
Yeah,
but it's still interesting to watch and look at. And Crow is also pretty good. I think he's had some of the least amount of changes.
Honestly, when I just saw it, I was like, yep, that's our Crow.
Yeah, that's Crow. He's doing cool shit. He has a lot of fun interactions. He has a lot of fun duels. His deck's still really good. He's decent. He gets less utilized further in, but he does a good job for what he is. And I can't really hate on that. Like, I think all of the cameos that we have in this show are good.
Yeah, Kite's good. Alexis is good. Phoenix is good.
Aster, sorry, I keep calling Alistair. It's Aster. But yeah, and Kite, I forget. I feel like Kite got a decent amount to do in this show. What do you think?
I think it's fine. I mean, I kind of wish, because like honestly, out of like we'll get to this when we get to Zexal, but like I really like Kite from Zexal. I think he's cool.
Oh yeah.
Like he's definitely he's very Sinnoh Kaiba-ish, right? But like in a more positive way.
Yeah, he's definitely. Oh man, maybe I should like do a thing where I rank all the rivals in Yu-Gi-Oh.
You know what we should do on your channel, right? Is we should make like a Yu-Gi-Oh like character tier list, and we just like live stream, right? We just talk about it. We do main characters, right, and then side characters. None of the not like basically duelists, right? And we just like rate them, right, like from S to like E or something like that.
Oh, in terms of the main characters, that's easier for me to make a list out of, definitely. But in terms of the rivals, I would need to really rethink about that a lot more. But yeah,
Well, you know what my
definitely
list
up for
is, so
yeah, I know your list definitely.
Kaiba S
I think
tier.
we all agree that Kaiba S tier.
I mean, you can't beat the classics, and also you can't beat like the dub version of him. It's just like, oh, as a businessman, I destroy innocent lives every day.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's I mean, hey, at least he's doing it better than Rooster Teeth currently.
Try and get around to watching Ruby this year so we can do a video on your channel talking about it.
Oh my god. Hey, listen, dog. For all we know, the landscape of the series is going to be wildly different there, but we'll get to that. Speaking of series, though, what do you think? So that's all for the cameo characters, and they're all pretty good. But what do you think of a lot of like the original characters in this show? Like,
okay,
Dennis, Shun,
we'll go with Shun for first, the XYZ dude. I like Shun.
Yeah, buddy.
He's great.
Shun is great. Oh my
except
God,
at the end when he smiles,
incredible.
that he makes that smile, when your best friend and sister are gone forever. But like up to that point, he is amazing.
Yeah, it's sort of like this guy who is going through this war path on revenge. Like in a lot of ways, he's similar to a lot of other like rival characters in Yu-Gi-Oh, where he is this determined person who kind of has a stick up his ass. But the way that the show uses him is really cool. He's very standoffish, but he interacts with the characters well. He has good chemistry with them.
Yeah, and he actually like and the reason why he's here, right, is he was here with Yuto trying to save his sister, right? Big brother made engaged. Like he's gonna fight for his comrades. Like this guy's a pretty like aside from his bit of
he's like a war veteran.
Yeah, he's been fighting in the trench. Yeah, he's been fighting in the trenches of the psychic interdimensional war, and he's this hard and badass. And his design is really cool. He's wearing like this cool like leather long jacket coat, and his deck is pretty cool. It's like these mechanical
chuny thing imaginable, and I love it.
Yeah, yes. It is very chuny, but it's fucking great.
Yeah, much like Yuto's design as well.
He's got a bandana, this kind of like trench coat. Well, not a trench coat, but like this long coat, right? And Yuto's was pretty cool as well. He's wearing like this gas mask with biker goggles, and he's got like bandanas and like leather jackets. This is like a biker gang.
Yeah, essentially. But a lot of Shun, I love Shun's deck. Raid Raptors are a really good card. They're really fun to play.
Yeah, these mechanical raptors. I also like his summoning.
Some of the best visuals in this show.
Oh yeah, by the way, the summoning shit in the show look great, and I love like the little summoning chants as well. It's very cool. Like adds a lot of character to them.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Oh my god. Like especially some of Shun's ones where he's like that theme music plays, and you see like Raid Raptors rank up XC change. Summoning chant, and you see like the birds like almost like transforming like click 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 click, and I'm just like Raid Raptors is fucking cool. I've heard that like in the meta they're not doing great this around, but they're actually like outside of that they're actually like a fairly good deck.
I don't know how it is currently, but in terms of just their general build, yeah, they're pretty fun. They're easy to pick up, and yeah, they're just really fun to play. I will say though that yeah, he does a little less near the end, but he is one of the few of the major like main characters in the show that are original that do a lot even up until the very end of the show, which is great. Which is more than I can say than most of the other characters like Sawatari.
I thought he was okay. I thought he was
his name is Shingo in the dub. I don't know.
I don't care. I thought he was okay. He's just very annoying. I did like Gon Gensaka. I thought he was pretty cool.
Oh, Gogen Zaka is really cool.
Oh,
I
Gogen
love
Zaka.
Super Heavy Samurais.
Yeah, I like him. He kind of reminds me of like this country bumpkin samurai who never gives up. I think that's cool. I mean, listen, he's less annoying than Salvatore here, so
Yeah, which is unfortunate because the first arc he was really cool.
Yes.
But then, and I think in some of the parts of the latter arc he's really good as well. I feel that in the middle they just kind of flanderize him a lot.
Yeah, he almost becomes like a comic relief character, and it's just kind of like I don't know, like
which is fine, but most of his jokes aren't very good.
Yeah, most of them aren't very good, right? And like I like the aspect of with him where he's like, he continuously keeps on trying new things. That's great. But, you know,
Yeah.
his jokes aren't funny. I mean, his little
Yeah.
crush he had on Serena, I think was cute, but like outside of that, there's nothing really much going on with his character.
Yeah. And then there's Sora, who I feel got wasted as the show went on.
Yeah.
Like, he was interesting beforehand in the first arc, but like Synchro arc, I have no idea. Do you know changed his mind?
I
near
have
the
no
end of the
fucking
show?
clue. And I don't remember. It's been
Okay.
like a month or two since I rewatched the show, and I'm not gonna bother to do that again.
Yeah, because like as the show went on, like he did a few things, but after the Synchro Dimension, it's hard to really pin down what else he has done other than fight randos. Maybe I forgot, and maybe somebody in the comments can point it out to me. But it feels
I
so
know he was.
rushed
I know
with
that
his
in like the Synchro
transformation.
arc, he was doing stuff in the background. We do see a little bit about that. And I do believe that like he helps in the final battle against Zark. But outside of that, I didn't really see him doing much.
Yeah, and he doesn't. His development feels very stunted. Like at first, he was all for murdering people. And
He's smiling gleefully, right? Listen, he's in touch with his inner child.
Yeah.
Sundowner from Metal Gear Rising is like, listen. These dimensions, they're just getting a little too peaceful, Sora. They're a little too peaceful. What's an honest warmonger gonna do?
Yeah, and like to be
Kids
fair,
are-
his
kids are
earlier
cruel,
goals in the first
Yuya.
arc, when he cuts loose.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he cuts loose were some of the best duels in that arc.
Yeah,
Those
and by
were
the way,
great.
his deck is really creepy as well. Like these creepy, like almost like fucked up
Fright
teddy
furs,
bears
yeah.
and shit like that. Like it's fright furs, I think they're called. Like they're pretty cool deck. Like honestly, most of the archetypes in this game, right? New archetypes are pretty good. Like Phantom Knights are good. Raid Raptors.
DDs are good.
DDs.
Raid Raptors are good.
Yeah, like just a lot of cool, like stylish decks.
Super Heavy Samurais, they're all great and well animated.
Yeah.
And yeah, they
But you see, your kids are cruel, and I'm in touch with my inner child. Dual Gust powers up.
Yeah.
Red Sun.
But yeah, the other side characters are just kind of okay, like Tsukikage. He was okay.
He's just there.
Layra, or Rayra. I don't even know. They're not consistent in how the fuck his name is spelled. I'm just gonna call him Rayra. Rayra is... They completely shafted him because I thought he was going to be... They were setting him up to be very much more important than he ended up being. Him.
No, it's actually a girl.
It's so weird. They keep calling him brother at the beginning of the show.
According to Wikipedia, it says female, so, I mean, he does have, like, fuck, even I'm doing it. She has long hair at the end.
Okay, yeah, I guess so. So she got very shafted because they were saying up in the beginning arcs of the show that she is like, oh, she's a duelist that is almost as good as Reiji, and she's only like 6 or something. And like for most of the show, she barely really does much of anything other than duel a couple randos, and then she literally becomes the living MacGuffin to seal away Zark at the very end. And then at the very end, we find out that like, oh, while doing that, Zark gets inside of Rayra and kind of merges the worlds back into one, which at first was cool, but because Rayra isn't happy, he couldn't sue the freaking dark Zark spirit that's inside him, so Yuya has to duel a bunch of people to find his mojo again to make him smile, which is
gay and lame, and also like the other 3 counterparts just show up as like Spirit, and the other 3 like counterparts like show up almost like Yami Yugis. Like honestly, that's the most insulting part about the ending, right? It's like, oh, you don't get your bodies back.
It's even worse, given that Yuri's an asshole.
Yes, it's like you've got the sadistic psychopath in your head, 24/7. Like,
why couldn't he be the dark version of Zark? That would have made more sense, right?
Yeah. Also, what doesn't make sense, right? Okay, they've all merged into one now. Why does Yuya get to keep his body? Why don't the other characters get to have their own bodies back and live their own lives? No, you're not the main character. Get fucked.
Yeah.
Also, how annoying would it be to have like literally like 3 other people swimming around your fucking head, man? I wouldn't be able to deal with that.
Actually, like imagine how it is if like Yuya and Yuzu like do the devil's tango, as it were.
Oh no.
Like how? Like what do you even call that at that point? Like how is actually, this is an interesting question. How is sex for like 2 people with DID?
I have no idea, but after school and university, I might look this up because I'm now morbidly curious.
Oh no, it's a question, all right.
It's fucking
But like, yeah, and also Yuya's dad is alive, which in a way I kind of expected, but they threw him in like the very last arc of the show, and it's
yeah.
like, eh,
Yeah.
all right.
Honestly, I would have preferred it if, like, we got, like, Zark and Ray again at the end, right? Except there's, like, the most pure version. Like, you know, it's just like everything's... Ending is, like, left so much to be fucking desired. But, you know, most of the other side characters, they're fine. Yeah. Now, let's get to the fucking music. Because,
Oh yeah.
this show has fucking bangers, man. Like, my god. Like,
Yeah.
okay. A few of the, here's the thing. I think this is one of the few Yu-Gi-Oh shows where I actually like all the, I like all the openings and EDs. Obviously, some are better than others, right? But, like, all the openings and EDs in the show, I really fucking like. Like, Light of Hope is the fucking shit.
Yeah, Live Hope is really good. It's definitely up there. I like the... Oh, hold on just a second.
Are you back?
As I was saying, yeah, we're back. Live Hope is really good. I think my personal favorite has to be the second opening.
Yeah, that's also mine. First opening as well as probably like the third. The other two are like the third and fourth. They're kind of like at the bottom, but like they're still pretty good. They got some good shit. Most of the ending songs
here and have great visuals too.
Yeah, the like Light of Hope has such great visuals. Like you see this like burned dilapidated city. You see like Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon versus Star Venom. You see like these giant robots in the background blowing shit up. You have like Yuya on roller skates. You know, it's very like the visuals in the show are great, and the openings are fucking great. And I really like. I think the song is called like Agent of Chaos or something like that. I'll link it later. I'll link it to you later, right? But it's the song that plays when Zark's doing like his merging shit right there, and it's this very like creepy, almost like I don't know, like Call of Cthulhu like theme song. It's like this is the song you play when you're summoning like Beelzebub in your basement.
I like Shun's theme is really good. Jack's theme is good. I think it might have been the same one from 5Ds. I'm not sure.
It better be.
Yeah, it better be because it's great. A lot of the neutral tracks when people are dueling are really good. I have just no bad thing to really say about the soundtrack. It's all banging.
Yeah. Art and animation, fairly good.
Some of the CGI when mostly when Yuya is riding Odd Eye's Pendulum Dragon is pretty wonky, but other than that, the CGI and art direction for the monsters are almost all pretty good. And they have like really great like monster designs as well.
Yeah, and there's some I know people dislike action duels, right? Because of the I draw a card, no tech, no damage.
Right.
Like I fucking hate that shit, right? But like honestly, like the idea of people walking around with monsters and shit like this and jumping in and hopping onto them and shit and riding them into battle, it's kind of cool. Like it definitely makes the duels a lot more engaging, similar to like 5Ds.
I think action cards are mostly okay. Like they were fine in both the original, the first arc and Synchro arc, and the latter two arcs. They're just get out of jail free cards, basically.
Yeah, I think they spam and overuse them too much.
Spam it so much. Like I rewatched the second fight with Jack, right? And it literally had Yuya spam that crap like 3 times.
Like I think there's a meme. I think there's like a picture,
3
right?
times in a row.
Yeah, I think there's a wallpaper, right, that someone made, right, where it has all the Yu-Gi-Oh protagonists with their ace cards, and with Yuya it has an action card. I'll try and after I come back, I'll maybe link it to you later. I'll try and find it and link it to you later today. But it's just like it's not Odd Eyes. His ace card is the get out of jail free card. Okay.
But yeah, I think overall I will just say that Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5.
Oh yeah, we're gonna wrap up. Yeah, I'm sorry we couldn't go too in depth. I'm kind of on a time crunch here. Yeah, I apologize. Apologies to the audience. We couldn't go super in depth here. However, we did want to at least cover the main stuff because honestly, the main stuff for the show is like fairly interesting. But like to wrap it up, Kaiser, you do your ending thoughts first, and then I'll wrap up with mine.
Sure thing. I think that most of Arc 5 is excellent. And has some of the best duels and content for the franchise. It's just dragged so heavily by the end. So with all those things in mind, I probably give it a decent 6 out of 10. It's definitely below Vrains overall because I don't think Vrain. It's well, I guess comparing it to Vrain, I will say that Arc 5 is probably worse than Vrain, but it has a lot of really high highs, and I never really. And there are some parts of it that I'm a bit more bored by than I was with Vrains, and by comparison. But yeah, that's my verdict.
I'm of a similar mind to Yugioh, to Kaiser on this one. Like, the show is not terrible. Like, it's pretty good. Like, when I was watching this for the first time when it was, like, coming out, like, weekly, I was definitely engaged. Rewatching it again, I was a bit more bored this time because obviously I knew the twists and shit like that. But, you know, it's a very solid Yu-Gi-Oh show. But, you know, the synchro arc in the middle's kind of boring. There's a few parts where it kind of meanders, and the ending really does kind of, like, you know, like, if they just fix
it kind of gives all that potential to back alley treatment. So.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, here's the thing. If they fix the ending, I would probably give this, like, maybe a 6, potentially an 8 out of 10. Like, there was a lot of potential here that wasn't really fully realized, and I'm afraid I've got to have the docket for that one. Characters are decent enough. Music, like, everything else is decent enough, right? But when it comes to that final arc and some of the boring, meandering scenes, I have the docket for that one. I'd also give it, like, a 6 out of 10. It's not a half-bad Yu-Gi-Oh show. It's definitely worth your time, but, like, just that fucking ending, man. It's just, I can't say that's enough. The ending is absolute shit. Like, let's just be frank about it.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate. But yeah, that's it for Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5.
Yes, join me and Kaiser as we now take a trip down memory lane to the XE dimension to go with the flow.
See you then.
Alright, bye-bye for now.